Research Lead Accenture, our distinguished moderator for this session. A very warm welcome to you, sir. Let's put our hands together to welcome them. I invite Mr. Saurabh Khanna, Managing Director and CEO, National E-Repository Limited, NERL. Warm welcome to you, sir. Ms. Minnie George, Executive Director, Agriculture Insurance Company of India Limited. Dr. Kumar Neel Lohit, Executive Director, IDBI Bank, and Mr. Deepak Parikh, Founder, Honeybee Tech Incubations Private Limited. Ladies and gentlemen, to lead this discussion, we are pleased to have as the distinguished moderator, Mr. Gaurav Sharma, Global Agribusiness Research Lead Accenture, who brings deep expertise in agribusiness research, sectoral trends, digital transformation, and strategic insights for the future of agriculture. And we have with us Mr. Saurabh Khanna, who's Managing Director and CEO, National E-Repository Limited, who brings valuable experience in digital repository systems, warehousing, commodity markets, and strengthening trust and transparency in agricultural trade. Ms. Minnie George brings rich experience in agricultural insurance, risk protection, and financial security solutions for farmers. Dr. Kumar Neel Lohit, who brings an important insights from the banking and credit sector, especially on financing models, institutional lending, and rural credit support. And we also have Mr. Deepak Parikh, who represents the innovation and agri-tech ecosystem with a focus on technology-led solutions for agricultural growth and farmer empowerment. And I now hand over the session to our distinguished moderator, Mr. Gaurav Sharma, to kindly take the proceedings further. So you have approximately 39 minutes left. Over to you.
Thank you very much for the introductions, and it was very good to see that in the previous session, I think Mr. Pankaj Bansal, he also touched a bit about agri-financing. So yeah, there's a bit of a precursor to this session. And to set the things in perspective, maybe I'll share some approximate figures. So we all know that around 70 to 20% of our GDP contributions, they come from agriculture sector. And the sector also employs around half of the workforce. Around 25 lakh crores in agriculture credit flows through our banking system, and more than 80 crore farmer applications have been insured under the Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana. The National E-Repository has crossed 10,000 crore in pledge finance through electronic NWRs. I mean, these are formidable numbers. But, and yet approximately 70% of the farmers, they still depend on informal money lenders. Only 37% of the enrolled farmers in the Fasal Bima Yojana, they really know how to, file a claim. And many times the nearest accredited warehouse is, quite a distance from the reach of the farmers, right? So we have scale, but not the reach. We have intent, but not the desired outcome. And that is why I think this is a very, very important session. And on this panel, we have 4 exceptional agribusiness leaders. And we have the person who turns the stored grain into bank loan, Mr. Saurabh Khanna from NERL. We have the person who protects the farmer's crop from nature's uncertainty, Ms. Minnie George from AIC. And we have the person whose institution actually lends to farmers and carries the credit risk, Dr. Kumar Neel Lohit, and a renowned technologist who believes all 3 of these should work together on one platform seamlessly for the farmer, Mr. Deepak Parikh, right? So to start with, I'll go with Mr. Saurabh, NERL. So the question is post-harvest lending, where the stored grain becomes a farmer's collateral for a bank loan. It has been a concept in Indian agriculture for decades, right? And yet its penetration remains limited. So how has post-harvest lending evolved over the last 2 decades? And more importantly, in your assessment, what are the most important reasons for its slow growth, despite the strong policy intent?
Thanks. Actually, it's a very a vibrant question because of what we heard in the last session also regarding food security and India being one of the nation which would be providing a lot of inputs to the other nations as well. Though there has been a lot of reforms which has come from the government in terms of creations of warehouses and providing additional storage capacity, but still a lot needs to be done on that front. And cooperative sector, as told by Bansalji in the earlier session, that large grain storage scheme, which is also currently coming into picture, but it will take some time where actual farmers can be putting their stocks. Currently, it is mostly the aggregators and the traders who primarily are doing it. On the lending perspective, as you have said, last 2 decades, if I remember when primarily I was in banks, the overall, I would say the asset book size of the entire ecosystem has remained in the similar range of 45,000 crores to 50,000 crores. It has not increased much. Primarily, if you see the KCC or the pre-harvest, it has gone up to 15 lakh to 18 lakh crores. So there is a big question mark that how come a pre-harvest funding that has been done to the farmers, but the post-harvest is a minuscule percentage of this entire ecosystem. Where when we say that, as Honorable Minister also said, that it pains that the people have to throw the goods on the ground and because they do not get the price. We have the storage at various levels, whether it is at a cooperative level or at a mandi level or it is at a district level. I think this thing could have been taken a better shape. I would also have a concern on the total credit that we provide both at the farmer level, which is, though KCC has a part of post-harvest also included into it, but the overall amount per se doesn't make sense to him to store for that particular thing. So there were policy reforms which were suggested that we should also provide the incentivization scheme like in KCC for 4% similar to post-harvest also. And we should also give rental discounting scheme to the farmers when they are putting it into a central warehousing corporation or a state warehousing corporation, which are the nearest to them as of now. So I think those reforms have been coming in the next couple of years from government. It will have a major impact on the lending portion also on this.
Thank you, Saurabh. So, yeah, post-harvest definitely is getting ground surely, a bit slowly but surely. But I think even the best of post-harvest systems, they are useful only if the farmer this survives, you know. So I think that brings me to Miss Minnie George. And here, I mean, we see that the agricultural investments in India, they're growing, be it the credit disbursals or the agri infrastructure, private capital in the food value chain. But at the same time, we see that the climate risks, they are intensifying. Could be, you know, the floods, the unseasonal heat waves, you're talking about El Nino, and the droughts, they are becoming more frequent and severe. So from AIC's position at the front line of agricultural risk, how do you see the crop insurance supporting and enabling sustainable agriculture investment in this increasingly volatile climate environment?
Yeah, so good evening all, and thank you, Mr. Gaurav. See, there is a beautiful Native American proverb which I like. It says, we have not inherited the earth from our ancestors, we have borrowed it from our children. So this, I feel, encapsulates the essence of sustainability. So sustainability, what does it mean? It thrives on 3 pillars. There should be economic viability, there should be environmental sustainability, and there should be social inclusion. So like we come into a picture when we see that, you know, as you have rightly said, we are now facing the El Nino year. So El Nino year, we are seeing that erratic rainfall, delayed rainfall, there can be droughts in some places. As the former earlier panel speakers, as well as our during the inauguration, what they have mentioned very clearly, we are looking at the vagaries of climate. So then what happens is that the farmer who is doing the production, he is suffering a lot of losses on account of in various forms. So like there comes essentially the nature of the importance of crop insurance, which acts as a risk transfer mechanism. So what happens is that what do we do? So we have this Government of India ka flagship program, Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana. So we, along with many other insurance companies, are implementing agency for that. So we have as of now 48% market share. So there are all sort of losses which a farmer is facing due to, it can be actually preventive sowing. So now because the rainfall is not very normal, what happens is the farmer is waiting for the right soil ka moisturize. So they are actually sowing may be prevented, or perhaps if it has been sown after that there can be erratic rainfall, so he may have to re-sow it. So what happens is that lot of expenditure comes there. So this Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana covers these kind of losses as well. Plus we are covering all sort of losses like arising out of drought, flood, excess rainfall, yield loss. All that actually affects the income earning capacity of the farmer. So we understand that farmer should not be driven into a debt scenario. So when actually we are coming in and taking on the responsibilities and shouldering the burden of the farmers to a great extent. So what they can do is that they can also, with confidence and trust, they can move forward and then again do the further whatever is needed for the sustainable nature, because we have to preserve the soil, we have to preserve the water. So the improved farming practices, they can confidently move on. And another thing is that, same way the lending agencies, the banks, the credit institutions, they can also confidently give a loan to the farmer, pretty sure that, assured that there are insurance companies who will take care of these losses so that there will be limited NPAs. So that way I feel that, whole lot of, we are there to show them that, the sustainability the farmer can actually achieve. And there can be economic sustainability over a period of time. So we feel that, in addition to this particular scheme, we also have parametric solutions. So parametric solutions, actually, what do? There are certain essential triggers, like, once the temperature crosses this, automatically the claim will trigger. Or when there is excess rainfall above a threshold limit, the claims will trigger. So this also gives a very quick settlement and transparent way of settlement, which also I feel that, it creates more trust in the minds of the farmer. So we are here to sort of create a lot of awareness among the farmers, because as of now, this particular scheme is not compulsory, it is voluntary. So many of the farmers need much more with regard to the awareness regarding that there are farming, insurance solutions to take care of their risk. So we are doing padashalas, fasal padashalas we are using our district coordinators and field coordinator staff to conduct various training sessions to make them aware about the benefits of doing insurance. In addition to this crop also, we also have various lines of insurance, like we are giving insurance for aqua, shrimp and cattle. Like earlier also we have been listening that, how crop and cattle are interrelated. So we have different solutions for all that. So what I am looking at is that in going forward, we should have a very integrated system where insurance is not taken just because of a compulsion. It should come as part of, sort of an investment strategy, and for a planning forward, insurance will definitely be there.
No, thank you very much. And when you said we are there to shoulder the farmer's burden, I think that stayed with me. And so the insurance is not just a safety net, but it is also an investment enabler. If the farmer is safe, it's in a safety net, then obviously the banks, they also come into play after that. So Dr. Lohit, coming to the banking side, the agricultural credit disbursement crossed 25 lakh crores in 2024. 13% annual growth rate over the last decade. The architecture is in place. I mean, we have the Kisan credit cards, we have the priority sector lending mandates, we have NABARD refinance, a network of over 1.5 lakh rural bank branches. So the question is no longer that how do we grow agricultural credit. I think rather the question now is what should be the next frontier of agriculture finance be? Would love to hear your thoughts on this.
Yeah, first of all, I think good evening to everyone and good evening, Gaurav. I think as rightly mentioned in the earlier sessions also, and I think alluded to what Madam was saying, I think we are looking at banks as partners now in the entire ecosystem. So we are no longer looking at banks and financial institutions providing production credit. We are looking at the entire value chain, which is important, and whether banks and institutions are part of this entire value chain. And this value chain is post-harvest. I think that was something which is of importance today. And not only in terms of marketing, in terms of processing, in terms of linkages which gets established, and the entire value chain. So that is where the new frontier or the new paradigm in the post-harvest that financing would be what we are looking at. What is most important is the value that a farmer generates now from the primary production. I'm told it is in the unit, so less than 10%. But the value which is generated post-harvest in the entire value chain of infrastructure, that particular value is about 90%. And therefore, can the banks and institutions be part of this value chain and help the farmers to scale themselves up so that they are also able to garner the value which is created out of it? Because ultimately it's all about sustaining the farmers. And we know that in India, about 86% of the farmers are small and marginal farmers. So how can we bring them together? So is it the institutional mechanism that you talked about, the new frontiers, which is getting pushed by the government of India in terms of FPOs, in terms of the cooperative movements? I think that is what is important. And another dimension in the frontier would be the dimension of how do we use the various technologies and the data. Now the technology becomes important because you have satellite imageries in place, you have weather analytics in place, where you have technology in place, and therefore using all this data together, we should be in a better position to access the farmers' income generation and therefore the credit worthiness also going forward. I think that is something that I think all of us should be looking at. And for sure, I think we are moving in that particular direction because it will no longer be just based on the collateral that the lending would happen, but we are looking at something like cash flow generated out of the farmers where the lendings will come in. And that is the new frontier, I think that we should all be looking at. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Lohit. Very, very enlightening. And since we are talking about the next frontiers in agricultural finance, so I'll come to you, Deepak. I think a very specific question, one about a policy instrument that has evolved over a period of time, the Agriculture Infrastructure Fund. It was initially launched in 2020, and the global conversation was heavily centered on the traditional post-harvest brick-and-mortar assets, warehouses, cold chains, and pack houses. But I think the August 2024 cabinet expansion has significantly broadened the scope of the community farming assets to now include precision agriculture, IoT, or sensors, drones, blockchain, AI, driven supply chain solutions, e-marketing infrastructure. So from an investment perspective, how does this pivot from physical only infrastructure to digital and smart infra fundamentally alter the capital efficiency and risk profile for smallholders and the financial institutions lending to them?
Yeah, pretty interesting question. So first of all, I would like to just touch upon a couple of things which were just said. See, unfortunate reality till I would say early 2016, that actually the financial sector was not very keen to fund farmers, right? Because of various reasons, non-availability of technology, challenges associated with going all the way to the grassroots level. And being ex-banker, I could have seen in those days, that though it is a primary sector for lending, but we are okay to give fines to RBI rather than actually take all the pain and fund the farmers and get an NPA. 2016 onward, a lot of things changed. And today, let me just touch upon some of the numbers. 2025-26, 32.5 lakh crores is what we are going to be disbursing. And actually, based on whatever data I have received, we have achieved that target. The collateral-free loan to farmer is now 2 lakhs, which used to be hardly anything in the era I'm talking about. See, the problem was that there was a lack of trust on the farmer itself. Now, if I'm not going to do that, but still, because the financial data should be private, if I ask you, raise your hands, right? How many of you are taking loan for your business or your company is taking for business, and how many of you are taking for personal loan? You'll find that same delta when you talked about around 25 to 30% of the loan is coming from sources which are not institutional. See, if I want actually to get a bike for my son immediately, right, writing to bank, I don't have banking history, it will be difficult for farmer. You'll find that smartly what government has done is that they have ensured, right, even if you go by NSO report of 2019, that close to 92% of agriculture related loan by the farmer is to institutions. Only 8% sometime he has to go for agricultural lenders for short-term credit. So this whole idea that actually farmers are not being taken care by financing in India, I think that's a little bit outdated. For agriculture requirement, they're taken care of substantially. Now coming to your question about agriculture infrastructure fund. Now again, that's a beautiful thing. Before you are able to ensure that on the post-harvest side, you are able to fund, you need an infrastructure. If I don't have a good warehouse to store, I would not have collateral for which you will be able to fund. So even if I allow you that okay, fine, go ahead and spend 5 lakh crores, right, in funding the collateral, one good rain like what we have seen in Delhi yesterday, right, you'll find that your collateral value would have been down by 40%. So you cannot do that. So it is very important that we put the right infrastructure. Now, what is that infrastructure? For sure, that is a physical infrastructure, typically warehouses, and warehouses with traceability, warehouses where actually you are sure that actually whatever material is there is taken care of. And this is where this whole idea of AIF came in. And the government said that actually, and luckily I was part of engaging with the government on when this was all structurized and created. The idea of the government was that actually let me give 1 lakh crore and see actually our people at the grassroots level, the village entrepreneurs, the FPOs, the farmers, the farmer bodies, the entrepreneurs, are they in for a game? Now we can say that actually 100%. If I see the last report, I think there has been disbursement of close to 90,000 crores. Sanction of 90,000 crores, disbursement of something around 66.8, 66,800 crores of disbursement, and overall investment in 2 lakh project worth 1.5 lakh crores. So government's 66,000 crore, right, ended up private players also investing, and India has been having a chronic problem of private investment in agriculture. Now, such scheme ensure that those problems can be solved. Now, government also took a deviation and they said, okay, fine, India is actually already on the super fast highway of digital infrastructure, right? Even if you go to USA, you will find an UPI. Making a payment in US is such a mess, and actually for every payment you have to end up paying 3 to 4% extra on the cost because actually it gets converted to INR. So whenever I'm traveling abroad, I'm always thinking, why they don't have a UPI? Right? And that's the beauty of Indian digital infrastructure, right? UPI is super. Now, UPI was not possible without Aadhaar. So we are having a structure where we ensure the Aadhaar. Now, same thing. Government also saw that there is an opportunity of digital public infrastructure in agriculture, where we talk about Agri, where you are able to map each and every farmer. Madam might be already using the geospatial technology to find actually, other than the crop cutting experiment, right? Having a satellite map telling you that vegetative index was 100% just 5 days back, and now actually it is 20%. That means something wrong has happened. Whether it is because of genuine reason or farmer has cut it, let's just go and find out, and just one person will tell that actually yes, there is a disaster and this farm has been impacted. Even she talked very rightly about parametric insurance. The biggest challenge with the Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana was that whole of taluka has to fail to get the money for a farmer. Now I am on a high land and he's on a low land. Both will be eligible, but at the same time, in case it is less than 30%, then actually even I don't get the money. Why? Because the rest of my PS, they have not failed. So now the government understood the reason that they should also invest in digital infrastructure at the grassroots level. What best way to do that? The best way to do that would be ensuring that actually it comes under AIF, and where an FPO or customer hiring centers. For example, for farmer, is it possible for him to buy a 6 lakh or to 12 lakh rupees worth of drone and then fly it and then actually take photographs, then process it and then say, wow, right, now I need to put more fertilizer. Now I have another drone for 12 lakh rupees. Now I'll do the spraying. Wow. He doesn't have 24 lakh rupees and such a like in a technology. What he do? He said, okay, fine. Let me find an entrepreneur. Or if I'm an entrepreneur, I'll say that I'm having 500 farmers in my village, right? I go to government and say, give me 2 crores. Now here comes the beauty. What is the beauty? Out of 2 crore, I only need 20 lakhs. That's all. I get loan, highest rate 9%, 3% subversion. So that means 6%. So my cost is 6% on the drone which I'm buying. Now I'll also go with a government scheme of subsidy on the drone, get another 15% removed from that. I'm already having a overall the loan, I'd say percentage of 4.5%. I'm surprised that actually at 13% the businesses are taking loan and no business in India give you 13% returns, right? Here you are getting 25% return at 4.5% interest rate. What best? So you'll find that you will be having deluge, take my word, right, of public capital formation in agriculture just because of this scheme. Second thing, and let me just add to part of that. Now, another thing is that this smartly the government has, again, I'm not trying to do the propaganda of government. I'm writing a book actually on agriculture economics, right? And all this data is very fresh in my mind. That's why I'm touching base on that. Very smartly, government said that, okay, fine, we need at the grassroots level, irrigation to be taken care by solar. Now, the problem was that I put a solar pump. I only use it for in 2 seasons, 4.5 months max. And that also every week, 3 times or 2 times. Now I'm having an investment, maybe a part of it subsidized by the government, but this is an investment, actually it is only used hardly for 28% of actual over total asset availability. Sun is going to come every day. If I'm not using it, it's my problem. It's not the sun's problem or even the solar engine's problem. So government said, okay, fine, under PM Kusum scheme, right, we are having 2 components in which you can put it on the grid or you can also use it. Now this is where the micro cold chain, right? Sir would know that DISA, right, was known for 100 crore NPA because actually cold storage were not able to function. Why? Energy cost. Now suddenly what happens is that if he's a banker, he will see and say that, no, I don't want to fund cold storage. Trump will throw 2 bombs and suddenly energy price will go up and actually it will become NPA. I'm not touching it. Now he sees, no, energy is taken care of by solar, right? My biggest input cost, energy is taken care by, it is actually now in my balance sheet, I will say that, okay, fine, this guy is smart. He's having energy taken care of. He's already having in DISA, close to 18,000 farmers who are growing potatoes. Business is going to come. Even if he charges 5 rupees or 6 rupees per ton, right? He's going to make good money. I'll fund him. So when you put 2 schemes, AIF plus PM Kusum, right? Even the bank would be keen to fund this type of project. Why? For very simple reason, they see value in it. And they see that it is not something which is bichara kisan ko loan de do or bichara rural sector ko loan de do. It will make me having safer in, I would say, exposure rather than giving a ethanol plant, right, which might shut down because of the government policy. Government saying that no more sugar cane to you, go for maize. Now this guy is coming back to me and saying that give me 20 crores more. Now I have to have a distillery for maize also. And tomorrow government says that maize is not available. Now go to rice. Say all those problems, right? He would be happier funding a rural entrepreneur, right? Because it's a less risk. 2 crore diya, 2 crore ke andar 99% will return money. So I think it's a great time for Indian agriculture. It is great time for Indian agriculture financing. And then the RIN, which is actually the digitization of complete, right, the data of farmers will ensure that just, I would say 4 years, 5 years down the line, just many of the banks
Deepak,
said,
the clock
just 1 minute, just 1 minute, I'll conclude. Just 1 minute, I'll conclude. Now what happens is that today, I don't need, my bank actually keep on writing me EMI option, click karo, 8 lakh ka loan de diya aapko. Maine manga bhi nahi hai. Right? Why? Because they see my financial data. I believe that is going to happen with our farmers also, where we will push, please take more loan, click this button and buy it. And I think next 5 years would be tremendous for agriculture finance in India. And please, great banks like you should look at, and great insurance companies like you, should come out with parametric. And sir, you do the financing of every possible receipt you can create. Thank you.
No, thank you very much, Deepak, for such a detailed answer to link all the dots and to build a very, very strong case for agriculture financing. We have very less time, so maybe 1.5 minutes for each of these answers. Saurabh, coming back to you. I mean, India loses an estimated 10 to 15% of total food production due to post-harvest inefficiencies. I mean, government policy we have all talked about has taken steps like AIF, ENAM, ENWR ecosystem, but for small and marginal farmers who must sell at harvest because he cannot always access credit against the stored produce, the system still falls a bit short. So how should government policy evolve to make post-harvest solutions more accessible, more farmer-friendly, and genuinely aligned with India's food security imperatives going forward?
So I would say that it links to your first question, that why the post-harvest credit is on a very lower side. So if you see, currently the banks who have been funding the post-harvest finance thing have been primarily targeting the same old customers, which are aggregators and traders. The farmer still is out of the loop. He either doesn't have a wherewithal to go to a warehouse which is not nearby and to put it over there. So in case if he has a warehouse nearby, I think the banks would be more than readily to pay off to them, because their KCC gets repaid instantly, because that is their worrisome point in the entire chain. So in case if these large grain storage scheme, cooperatives and other schemes which the government is planning to do, if those are nearer to the farm gate, it will help reduce the post-production losses that currently we are having. And secondly, since the agriculture being a state subject, people typically are not able to trade outside their own purview. They have to sell it to the same person in the mandi year on year. In case if the government new initiative of electronic negotiable receipts are more tradable, like it is done on the exchange in small lots, I think it will become much more feasible for them to come to a warehouse or a cold chain which is nearby. So infrastructure requires a huge amount of investments. Current investments of AIF is all about interest subvention. It is not talking about capital subsidy that has to be given. If capital subsidy is given across to people, I think it will create wonders in creating these.
Thank you very much for such a focused answer. And I'll shift a bit to technology and innovation. So coming to you, Ms. George, I mean, technology is reshaping agriculture rapidly. We have satellite-based yield estimation mechanisms. We have AI-driven risk modeling, real-time weather networks, digital claims processing in your sector. We know that AIC also won a Technology Initiative of the Year award at Asian Insurance Awards at Singapore. So how specifically AIC is leveraging the digital innovation to improve agricultural risk management? And more importantly, how does a farmer in rural India actually experiences this transformation from enrollment to claim settlements?
Gone are the days when bullock cart symbolized agriculture. So this transformation has happened across the entire value chain. Same with the insurance also. So technology has actually reshaped how we look at the insurance product, how it is designed, how it is delivered, and how it is serviced. So service is the most important, because there ends how the experience of the end user, customer will be. So you have, actually, I will appreciate that, Mr. Deepak has also touched upon a lot of points regarding technology. So that makes my answer more shorter and crisper. You have also mentioned that AAC has won awards. Actually, we have won a couple of, a dozen awards we have won, and 2 of them from international forums, especially for being the technological innovative pioneer of the year award also we have got. So I will just touch upon what we have done. We have actually made one mobile app, which actually has made our entire insurance setup entirely paperless. So this mobile app we call by the name Saras mobile app, which has won 2 internationally acclaimed awards. So through this, what we can do is that we are insuring the cattle, we can insure the aqua, we can insure the shrimp. So whatever it is that we can insure, and absolutely there no need of any paper. So immediately when I say it is a paperless, it shows that it's quicker, faster, and decisions can be taken then and there, immediate. So this has actually transformed, I will say, the lives of various farmers on ground, because they don't have to go through the filling up of a proposal form, and actually our field coordinators help them with this app so that the photos are taken, and based on that immediately the decision can be taken at our end, and that it's immediately is relayed back and the policy is also generated. So this is as far as the known scheme is concerned. In the scheme insurance also, like we are actually functioning on a portal, NCIP. That's a National Crop Insurance Portal. And to facilitate that, we have developed a core insurance platform through which, entire underwriting process, the claims processing, the administration of the policies, and the analytics, everything happens. And everything happens on God's speed. So what happens is that, this actually brings out a faster claim settlement and also more of a transparent way in settlement of the claims, which actually is needed very much, the need of the hour, I will say, because it's a trust factor. So when we are doing it everything transparently, it increases the trust among the farmers. Yes, the insurance is actually helping them. So this, I will say that, has changed the entire ecosystem. And actually, we also are doing the integration with the various partners. Like we have now done a bank assurance with around 12 major banks. So where, we have our own portal which we have developed. And through that, once the bank gives us the lead, immediately, like our field coordinators from then and there is taking on, to meet the farmer and get the insurance done. So this has also increased, I will say that in our reach, which actually is increasing, improving the general ecosystem as far as insurance is concerned.
Thank you very much for these insights, and congratulations for leading from the front and setting benchmarks for everyone in the sector on innovation. So coming to you, Dr. Lohit, we know agricultural lending carries the risks that few other sectors do. So how can IDBI Bank and India's banking system sustain and expand agricultural credit while genuinely managing the portfolio risks that come with it? And what structural changes would make agricultural lending both more inclusive and commercially sound?
I think part of the answer has already been given by Madam. But I would just supplement that. See, we are into the business of risk taking. So that is, any decision which a bank takes involves risk taking. The question is, how do we mitigate those risks? And technology is a great leveler now as far as risk mitigation is concerned. Now, there was some discussion about whether we use the data, whether use the technology. We have huge data records now getting digitization. I think Mr. Parekh did mention about the digital infrastructure which is getting built up over a period of time. So in the banking sector, the entire KYC is now eKYC. So the entire onboarding experience that we have is on the profile of the farmers, on the profile of the borrowers, that is already captured, which was not there earlier. So that is one aspect as far as the borrower is concerned or the farmers are concerned. The second issue is, how do we incorporate the other data sets, the analytics which is there, whether weather analytics is there, or even today, in fact, in the morning, I had some discussion with government officials, and they're talking about how AI is transforming the way in which farmers are being lent for cattle, for goats. So you just take a click of photograph and you need not have those chips which were there earlier. So these are the changes which are happening now. And these kind of repositories which are being built are helping in ensuring that some collateral which is there is the collateral which is there. So, as I said, technology which will be the greatest leveler. We need to harness these technologies. And today we have in our bank also, in another public sector banks and other banks, we have a lot of journeys where the entire lending is done through the technology. going forward, I think in a year or two, you will see the entire loan origination and management system will be on your mobile on the apps. He did mention about how personal loans we can get in a click. I'm sure it is a matter of time when on a click, the farmers would be able to get the loans. Because bankers are realizing the value in this particular sector. And it's not because of the government diktat, but because the value which is being generated and the kind of secure and comfort that the bankers are feeling now, that they would be in a better position to mitigate these risks. In the end, there would be risks. But it's all a question about what is the kind of fair risks which a commercial entity is likely to take. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much. I think we are right on time. So maybe I'll just want to close with a thought. I mean, we have heard this. Some wise person said that agriculture is the foundation of all civilizations. But I would like to add on that saying that financial inclusion is also the foundation of agriculture. Without credit, a farmer cannot plant. Without fair prices, he cannot grow, or without insurance, he cannot take risk. And without technology that reaches the farmer, none of this really matters. I mean, so a big thank you to all our panelists for their candor, expertise, commitment to lay out a very comprehensive roadmap and for the financial inclusion of our farmers. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you very much indeed, sir. And I would like to invite Ms. Rajni Shaleen Chopra, Group Editor, Agriculture Today Group, to kindly do the honors of felicitating our distinguished panelists on the days. We would like to honor our moderator, Mr. Gaurav Sharma, Global Agribusiness Research Lead, Accenture. Thank you, sir. We honor Mr. Saurabh Khanna, Managing Director and CEO, National E-Repository Limited, NERL. Ms. Minnie George, ED, Agriculture Insurance Company of India Limited. Dr. Kumar Neel Lohit, Executive Director, IDBI Bank. And Mr. Deepak Parekh, Founder, Honeybee Tech Incubations Private Limited. Thank you, ma'am. And may I request for a group photograph? So, ladies and gentlemen, we would request everyone to kindly remain seated. We will be straight away moving ahead with the final panel discussion of day one, which is also a very, very interesting session, which is CEO's panel on feeding the future. Thank you.